Well, hey everybody, here I am back again with another great interview with Global Missions Project, and we've been looking about different topics that we could talk about with different people for different purposes. And today we're going to focus on a spouse going on one of our GMP projects and how that affects them when they're not a musician and when they're going as a support member of the team. And one of my favorites that's traveled with us many times, and I just love to have her with us. She's just a great asset to our teams in every single way. And I just thought maybe she could share a little bit about how she prepared for her very first GMP trip, and then how now that she's been on a number of them, how she has seen her purpose, her calling on the projects. And I know that she's going to offer some great information to us today. And her name is Sharon Davis. And I'm going to bring her on right now, and we're just going to chat a little bit. So, hi, Sharon.
Hello.
Hey, it's good to see you this morning. As I was informing the people about, we're going to be chatting about being a spouse traveling on a GMP mission project when you're not a musician. And so you have been one of my prime go-to super duper support people now for a number of years, and some of the things that you do on the projects. But I'm going to let you share a little bit of those with the people today. I'd like to ask you, first of all, um, uh, number one, why did you go on the very first one that you went on? I know it was with your husband, Wayne, who's another one of our really fine musicians that travels with us routinely. He's kind of on call for me. I can almost write him a note and say, Wayne, I really need you. He'll jump on board. So what is it that made you want to come along with him on the very first GMP project?
Now, this answer is going to surprise you, which I am full of surprises for you. When our very first introduction to GMP projects was to Scotland. Well, it wasn't the project that got me excited. It was the fact that we were going to Scotland, never been, and he's a golfer. So there's St. Andrews. So we were going to go a little earlier to St. Andrews and play tourist. And that got, but then as the days drew closer, I began to think, especially as packing, oops, what am I going to do? You'll be playing. Where will I go? What will I do? What will you know, does he need me? Does he have a room on the trail for a extra non-essential person? When I got to Scotland, of course, the fears were huge, but there were two other ladies, actually three, who, on the very first stepping on the ground, took me under their wing, made me comfortable. I found we each, as spouses, have a niche within the group. Some are quieters, some are talkers, some are, just we'll do it when you ask us to do it. We won't be in your way. So the fear of what and where and when were all answered within the first 35 minutes of Scotland's trip. And I do that to Donna Lewis, Becky Kirby, and Teresa, right out of my head, Teresa Garrett. And we bonded. We found, just through our backgrounds, and those were answered. And if you are thinking, oops, this is the wrong thing for me, believe me, there's every trip I have been on is a different bunch. You feel welcomed. You are very much essential. Can't put it into a piece of paper and say you will do this, because he doesn't even know. And he'll turn around and you'll see him, you'll know him, you know the people, you know the guys, the players, the musicians. And like I said, there are just oodles and oodles of things you'll do. And yep, I still get nervous going because even though we've been many, many times, I still get a little like, oops. But believe me, it's well worth it.
Let me interrupt there, and that is great information. And I kind of see that in similar to another things when the when many times, not all the time, but many times when our musicians find a project on our website that they think they'd like to go to, very often it is the location that draws them. That's
Mhm.
not unusual at all. That they'll say that's a place that I really have thought about. I'd like to go, and so that becomes one of the priorities for making that choice. So I don't think that's unusual at all. And of course, for anybody that's a golfer, St. Andrews is a major draw for sure. And I've actually loved that. I have to do a little quick follow up on that. I'm not a golfer, and when we got off of the bus there at St. Andrews, the bus dropped us off pretty much right at the 18th green, which is where the little bridge is. For anybody that's a golfer, they know this. There's a very famous picture of Arnie Palmer standing on the bridge with his cap in his hand. And so all of our golfers want to try and emulate that picture. But the thing that I love about being right there is right on there's a wall, a sea wall, because the sea is right there, right off of St. Andrews, and that the beach there is where the running scenes were filmed for the movie Chariots of Fire, and that's
Yes.
just one of my all-time favorite movies about men of faith, and it really touches me to see that. So everybody's got their reasons, and but anyway. I love what you said too about how fast you bonded. I've noted that with our teams in general, our musicians, we bond quickly because we have to. But I do think that it's the bond of Jesus Christ within the context of music as
Yes.
well. And even the spouses get it. They understand and they jump on board. Now, you told me initially why maybe that very first trip, how you felt about getting on board for that, and then kind of getting the initiation of the first project. Do you have any idea how many projects you've been on now?
I think 14.
Okay, yeah, I mean that wouldn't surprise me at all. I didn't know the answer, so that's interesting. So okay. So now you've got 14 projects behind you now, and we already got plans for upcoming, for this year. And so now, when you're preparing to go, what are you doing in your preparation? What is it that your heart and your mind are kind of organizing towards doing on the next project?
Well, you are very good at that. Your team, from the very first one, you sent out uh, weeks ahead a prayer walk, prayer life, getting others peoples to pray with you. So those are things that I've been doing long before. I mean, the next project for us is in August, so it's already in the process. Making sure that I am ready and that whatever God throws at us, that I'm ready. And I'm not so sure sometimes that I am really ready, but He has never failed me. He's put me in situations that I come out and I go, wow, that wasn't me. That wasn't me at all. And I know that, like I said, the team, whomever, I don't know whom they are, but they prepare you. If you will do it, the devotions, the prayer walks, their prayer life, and they give you plenty of time ahead of to it to go forth. So that's what I do, and it helps me in my daily life as a normal person here at my own home.
Oh, and I want to hear more about that too. Now, Ken Hughes is our ministry director, and he's Mr. Organization. He's Mr. To Do List and check them off. He's so good, and we're so thankful to have him as part of our GMP team, a major leader in our GMP team, and everything. And sometimes that we do have people that they're anxious. They're very anxious. Our participants, because they want to see the itinerary, and they want to see the itinerary 6 months in advance, and we don't normally have an itinerary 6 months in advance. But the thing that I've always told them is we're going to send you what the itinerary looks like right now, but I can tell you that when we land, it's going to change. It's
Very
not.
much so.
We've never had, and by the way, I think this is true of all mission projects, not just GMP, that things do change. And I think that some of the reason for that is that God is redirecting things. I think He's just saying, okay, that was an interesting idea that you had, but this is what I really want you to do. And that's the thing I love about our GMP teams. You know that one of our mottos is Semper Gumby, always flexible. And because that's what we have to be. We have to, at some level, go with the flow, and by the same token, grab a hold of it and take what God has designed for us to do, and just be there and not hold back. Just go for it. Now, you have the ability to express yourself, and I mean that in a really really sweet way. I'm teasing you a little bit, but uh, but
I have one thing going for me. It's a smile.
you do have a great smile, and I do love that, and I love that when you're yelling at me, you're smiling at me, and and I'm teasing you about that. But in all seriousness, you have the ability to communicate, and you're willing to do that. Have you had any story or anything that just one thing that maybe you'd like to share, maybe about an interaction that you had while you were on any one of the projects?
I have given that some serious thought. Each project has a story in my life. So I'm trying to think one that would uh, be, because we have literally gone with Metro Big Band and the orchestra. So there are two different entities, and you go with a small group or a big group. So I have interacted with lots of different. I'm a background person. The band's playing. I'm usually in the background with the people, and I'm a people person. So I don't speak the language, but like I said, a smile will get you a lot of places. Plus, I'm a camera person, so the camera's always in my hand, and that generally they'll either look at me or they'll turn their back or they'll ask me what I'm doing or something of that, you know. But we were in Scotland at a church that was unlike any church we had been in before. It's the person that we were working with wanted the sax section to go. So we had already been in the church and kind of gotten introduced to, and there was a gentleman at that Sunday service who saw me with my camera. And thank goodness Scotland speaks English, but it's not my English, nor am I speaking their English. And we communicated. Well, by the time we came back for the final show at the end of the week with the entire band, he was there. And of course, I'm up in the balcony section with my camera with the sound person, Chuck Hanks. And all of a sudden, he rips my camera out of my hand. And I'm like, whoa. And he puts his expensive lens on my camera. And he said, I want you to take pictures. And come to find out, he was an unbeliever. He'd only gone into the church because he heard there were saxophone players. And I would say that just through that little interlude, he has, since we have been back to the country, he is now part of that church. And so I can't say that it's a hugey, but it was really for me like, wow, my camera's speaking a different language, music, where the music is speaks to people. My camera was speaking to
That's great.
him. So you'll never know what a smile, what a reaction, what just a arm, shoulder to a person will do. And so that's what a spouse does. They just are out there being them, being us.
Be yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great story. So the connector in that particular story was the camera,
Hmm.
and God can use anything,
Yes.
and chooses to, and not he chooses to use anything for that connection. Uh, that's a great story. I really like that. I mean, and you and I could probably sit here for the next 2 hours spinning off of back and forth with connections that it seemed like, how did that happen? Where did
Mhm.
that come from?
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, listen, I have enjoyed talking to you so much today. I always enjoy talking to you anyway. And by the way, Sharon does some real hard work on the projects as well. We always have CDs that we make available to the people, and the CDs they're a connector in themselves as well. But you know, when Sharon and our other spouse friends are there taking care of letting people have access to those CDs, there's conversation going on, and there's connections going on verbally as well. And I'm sure that you could tell stories about the number of people that you've talked to sitting behind that CD table. You know, that would
Yes.
be awesome. Well, let me just say this because our time's is up. But um, what would you say to a spouse who has never been with their musician spouse? As far as putting them at ease or giving them encouragement about going on one of our projects.
And I'm sure that as a spouse, you have supported your husband as he's played. Do not be afraid to step into this world. It is easy. You are not alone. You will find every one of us have had that first one. So we all know. And as I said before, camp cannot put on a piece of paper and say, this is what you will do, or this is what I'm expecting of you, because as he said, he doesn't know. And it's fun learning. And do not hesitate to join the group. You will make friends. You will see things, do things, be things, enjoy. You'll go home with a smile on your face, a glow in your life, and it just will put fun back into music for you if you've been doing it behind the scenes for a long time. So do not. I would love to meet you on one of our projects. As many as I can physically go. I You know me, you know my face now. So come on, join us.
That's great. And you know, you can answer this in one word, and I already know the answer. Has God changed your life through GMP projects?
Immensely,
No,
immensely. I
that's
thought
even a
I
better
was
word.
a good Christian girl, but once you stepped out outside that mission field where there's difference than what you are, oh, believe me, I'm getting chill ready for Scotland now.
Yeah, you know what? I'm getting a chill talking to you. Looking forward to seeing you again. Well, listen to all of our GMP friends that are out there watching this interview with Sharon Davis. Um, encourage your spouses to jump on and go with us. And you know what? We've even had trips where entire families have gone with us, and so we welcome any and everyone to join us. And you do not have to play an instrument to be effective on a GMP project. So God bless you all today, and we'll see you next time.